Welcome to A Mason's Work, the podcast where we review Masonic symbols and illustrate how they can be used to solve problems in everyday life. With your host, Brian Mattox, a proud member of the Craftsman Online Media Network.
So we've been talking the past couple of days about fatherhood and leadership and anger. And I kind of want to bring some more stuff up here. Is really important, at least in my opinion. We started with anger as a signal, right? And then we looked at how that, where that emerges from. And it's typically an expectation gap, the distance between the idea you have in your head of what's going to happen and what actually happens. And we looked at the outcome sort of focus, the way that men attach what they generally care about to a specific outcome or result, and then grip it so hard that it kind of dies, right? So yesterday I said something that I want to use as the foundation for today, because I think it's where all three of these things connect. And it's the best form of control you can exert is the control of allowing. That line surprised me a little bit when it came out because, I tend to riff on these things, but I think it's, fundamentally true. And I think it points to the engine underneath all of the sort of causes for these angers that we get, these frustrations that build up over time. And it's when you start to look at that expectation gap and you pull on that thread a little bit towards the outcome focus, what you find underneath in that need to control is care. There is a fundamental desire that is caring. And that shows up as control or control-like behavior because you think, as we all likely do, that a father is supposed to be in control of his household. A worshipful master is supposed to be in control of his lodge. A business leader is supposed to be in control of the situation. So when control slips, when the vote goes wrong or the kids won't listen or all of that stuff, it doesn't just feel like a bad kind of like moment. It feels like a role failure. And that anger comes in to fill the gap and start kicking ass and taking names. But that place where you tend to lose control or have that anger flare up are the relationships that you sort of care about the most. You're not getting angry about the stupid stuff as much. The anger that matters anyway. You might get a flash of annoyance or an irritation or things like that. But the anger that really is a deep-seated, powerful thing are typically emergent from the places you really have the most care for. And so as we understand this, we can begin deprogramming the anger as part of that conversation. We can say things like, we're looking for this kind of overall directionality. We're looking for a deeper, more powerful relationship, or we're looking for healthy and emergent adults that are coming from our children. And we need to, if we want them to behave in adult ways, we need to create space for them to do adult things while they're not yet an adult. We start the process of beginning to understand what we're building here is bigger than any one outcome. So with that understanding in mind, you can begin to pull back your focus a little bit. You can begin to pull back and look at more into the process that we're going through, the process we're creating, and not the outcomes. You're going to make mistakes. You will be in situations in your life that are out of control for reasons beyond your control. If you don't understand this, when the anger comes or flares up and you start making everyone in your life around you pay the cost for your inability to see where that's coming from, you are losing the narrative. You are damaging the relationships that matter the most. So, as you work through this, as we work through this together, because this is a we thing, right? Your father did not learn parenting in the same way that you did. In fact, the way this typically works is the fathers that, have then go on to have children tend to parent in a way opposite of the parenting they received. They perceive the parenting that they had gotten when they were growing up as one kind of way, and I'm never going to do that with my kids as the default response. So it creates this kind of pendulum effect. But, there is no original sort of root cause here with this. There's no this is the parenting defect that I'm paying for that's 8 generations old. Like, there's no place that goes that matters. As you build forward, this isn't about finding and placing blame or any of that kind of stuff. It's about understanding that you can be the place that moves from outcome orientation back to process orientation. And as you do that, as you gain this sort of maturity, you begin to create these spaces of allowing for growth and development. We'll come back at it tomorrow.
The views represented in this podcast are those of the speaker alone and are not representative of any grand or subordinate lodge.
Hi, Brian here. I wanted to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any suggestions or guidance for further episodes you'd like to see or hear, whatever the case may be, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at amasonswork.com, and we will try and incorporate your suggestions into a future recording. Thanks.
Freemasonry teaches us that the true work is within, a lifelong journey of reflection, discipline, and discovery. At A Mason's Work, we help Masons bring out their best selves through meaningful self-inquiry and symbolic practice. From personal reflection to lodge engagement, we offer tools that turn symbols into action. Visit us at amasonswork.com. The work is within. The time is now.